Hello, everyone, and welcome to SalesRobot Customer of the Week, a new show where we feature some of our best customers and we go deep into their tactics. We share hot tips around targeting, messaging, and personalization so that you can take away some tips to implement in your cold outreach starting tomorrow. Today, we have Joey Kennedy from KMS. Welcome to the show, Joey.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
Awesome. So let's get started with the easiest question. What does your business do and how do you make money?
So I work at KMS Healthcare, and we are a technology offshore company focused on the health technology industry. So our company is based in the United States in Atlanta, Georgia, but we have 500 engineers in Vietnam. And so we help health companies around the world, many of which are located in the United States, but around the world, to deliver their products to market. If they need engineers, if they need testers, if they need UI, UX professionals, we sell them professional services so that they can make their innovative health tech products a reality.
That's awesome. So I won't bury the lead. Let's get into the campaign. Before you tell me a little bit more about the campaign, I'd first like to share my screen and show people the statistics because this is a really well-performing campaign. So I want to show what it looks like. Awesome. So this was the one. You did it 5 months ago. So you've sent about 252 connection requests, and overall you've got a reply rate of 57%. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So with that, let's get into it. What was this campaign about? Do you remember?
I do remember, and it's still running actually, so it's still
Okay,
helping
yeah.
as of today. So I nicknamed it the Connor Principles. I actually have about 20 different campaigns. I like to try a lot of things, do some A/B testing, but there's a LinkedIn personality, and I think his name is Connor Constantino. So I stole some of his ideas. So a couple of things about this campaign. The first thing is I'm just sending an empty message request, connection request, because I think that's the most effective. Then it doesn't look like you're trying to sell something.
Right.
But I went with a very super open-ended question because I wanted to get the prospect talking. And so my question is, how are that company name?
Love it.
Keep it simple, right? They don't necessarily know that I'm trying to sell them something. And the answer could be, oh, things are okay, things are great, we're growing, which would, based on what I told you about my company, if they're growing, that's a good opportunity for us. Good, we can help you. Once in a while, I'll get somebody who say, I'm not very happy here, I want a job, which is fine, but just that really open-ended question seems to get people talking, and then it kind of sets up nicely for further follow-up.
Yep. Yep. No, I love this. I love this. I mean, one of the things that somebody taught me about LinkedIn a long time ago, that you should actually look at LinkedIn as a massive virtual networking event that's going on all the time, right? So say things that you would say to somebody when you walk up to them at a networking event. They would say, "Hey, how are you? How are things at
Right.
your company?" So it just works, right? And we see the stats. You've got a 52% response rate to this. 38 out of 72. So that's awesome. So let's get into the follow up. What was this about? What was the thought process here?
Yeah, so the second part of Connor's principles were to start with a problem that people are going to identify with. And you want to keep it general enough so that a majority of the audience are going to identify with it. And I'm already targeting the right people through Sales Nav. So I know we're talking to like CTOs at these health companies. And I think this is a problem that everybody would agree with. It's hard to find technical talent. So I'm stating something that, we like to say gets their heads nodding like, yes, that's true. I identify with that. So you're identifying the problem, and then you're pitching a solution, which is we have these technology resources in Vietnam that can help them accelerate their process at a lower cost. And then the next step is I'll even give you a free QA resource. So I want to give them a unique offer. Then I finish with a soft call to action, which I really like, interested in hearing more, because then I'm not asking them necessarily for a meeting. If they are, then I will, we'll get a meeting or I'll send them a use case. But I like that soft call to action. It seems to work well for me as well. So, and based on you guys' analytics, 90% chance of response seems pretty good. But problem, here's the solution, here's the offer, and then call to action is kind of the form I like to use.
Yeah, no, I think it's a effective message. Problem is one liner, not too long. I like that. And then there's a clear solution. And what I love the most about this is the offer CTA combination. One of the things I've been doing lately is just, brainstorming soft CTA with like ChatGPT and Claude,
Hmm.
Just yesterday I put in like, give me, 25 more soft that sound like, you know, can I send you more info, something like that. It came up with a lot of very good ones. So that's one of the things I've started doing lately, like not getting ChatGPT or these AI, writers to write out full messages. I don't think they're good at that. But what they're great at is helping you brainstorm stuff. So I think if you ask, these different AI tools to rewrite or think of other parts of this message, it just really gets your wheels turning. So I love this message.
Good. I'm glad. Well, it seems to be working.
Awesome. So you've got a few responses here as well. 6% response rate in absolute terms, but that's to be expected given that it is a targeted,
Right. But remember,
question.
if they respond after the second time, when I ask them how are things going, I
Yeah.
already just copy and paste and respond that anyway. So usually if they responded the first time, then I've got the dialogue going when they tell me how their things are at the company.
Awesome. So let's look at the targeting on this one. So how did you figure out who to go after?
Uh, let's see. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I set up. I use a combo of like some Zoom info. I use a LinkedIn sales nav search, sometimes a LinkedIn general search.
Hmm.
Let me see if I can glean it from your screen, or actually, I've got it pulled up, so I could probably look into mine.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I can
but
stop.
apologies, we're looking at this in real time.
No worries. It's supposed to be a chill show.
Yeah. Okay, so I did a sales nav search on this one.
Mhm.
So we have pretty tightly defined territories, so I want to make sure I can identify the states. And so the first thing I do is add the states. Another thing that I've done that seems to work pretty well, and I believe I did it for this one, is I like to add folks who are active on LinkedIn, which you can
Mhm.
only do in Sales Nav because that means they're already on there. And
Mhm.
if you go back to the questions I'm asking, Saurav, it's, hey, how are things at your company? Well, if they're already on there, they'll say, oh, I'm on here on LinkedIn. I'll talk to this guy. If they
Mhm.
don't log in except once every 3 months, they're probably not going to answer. So
Yeah.
that was my approach in terms of the targeting.
Awesome. And the job titles are all technical, senior technical leader, CTO, something like that.
Yeah, we do CTO, we do vice president of engineering, SVP. Yeah, sometimes we'll throw in a CIO, but usually not. And we do co-founders as well, because a lot of the groups we're targeting are health technology startups. So co-founder would definitely be involved in selecting us.
Awesome. So let's get into some of the actual conversations and see what they look like. Okay, okay. I have too many tabs, but yeah, here, inbox and then campaigns. This one. Okay, let's see. There's probably a different campaign, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that. Oh yeah, that was a video one. So yeah.
yeah. I'll switch it off and on again. That tends to work. Okay, okay, this one, right? So how are things at, Versant? You you got a pitch back, so that
Yeah,
works.
that's right. Yeah.
Interesting. Really great. Okay, you got the conversation started at least.
Mhm. Yeah.
The contractor. Um, yeah, yeah. I know this is random, but this is okay. This is a different one active on LinkedIn, right? Okay. So, what kind of conversations did you actually get going with this? Are there any you remember?
The good thing about having 20 different campaigns going with you guys is that I've got a lot of activity, but
Yeah.
nothing comes to the top of my mind right now.
Uh-huh.
But I'm sure it's led to some good opportunities. This is actually the third company I've used SalesRobot at. And I know I've closed a couple of deals from it, so it's been really beneficial. Quite a few deals actually, and got some good prospects going. So it's hard to remember which one was which. I go off of those reply rates to know how impactful it is.
Awesome. No, that's awesome. I think the campaign will definitely do well because if you've got a pool of 50 replies, I'm sure at least 5 or 10 of those are decent conversations that are going somewhere. So yeah, it's
Yep.
always good to look at the size of the bucket. Awesome. So that is on the campaign. Now on to my next question. So what are some of the mistakes you made when you first started doing
You mean with SalesRobot or just in general?
in general, right? Whenever you start doing.
Um, coming across as super salesy is not good. The biggest mistake is too long, right? Especially LinkedIn, but anything. I always start a campaign and I start with 5 sentences and I say, what of these do I absolutely have to have? And then I remove everything else.
Yeah.
And part of that just comes, Saurav, from receiving a lot of these myself. And I will
Mm.
always read the first 2 sentences, and after that, no, sorry. So definitely, the shorter the better. One of the things that seems to help me is I like to give a little bit of time in between the follow-ups,
Mm.
because I've had people follow up with me like 3 times in 3 days. Sometimes I'm traveling for work,
Mm.
and it kind of comes across as rude, especially. So instead of having that follow-up message be the next day, I like to give it 3 in 3 days or 3 in 5 days or something like that. And then I
Mm.
actually added a lot of step to my other campaigns like a month later, just checking in. Maybe they were super busy that week and now it's January, it's a new year. So try, especially since with you guys we can have unlimited messages, try a fourth message way out in the future and see if that'll work, and then they'll be impressed that you remembered them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would say timing, I would say definitely the length of the message. Yeah, those are two big mistakes I made that I finally learned.
That makes a ton of sense, and this is something I hear over and over again on the show, right? Like making that mistake is something I made as well, because when you start out, you just want to tell them everything about your awesome company and how you can help, XYZ, but it
Yeah.
just it helps to go back to the basics and think, okay, would I say this to a person I just met at a networking event? Maybe. Actually, no. I would just go and
Yeah.
talk to them like
Right.
a person, right? So yeah. Awesome. So that's on the mistake side. Okay, next question. What are some of the things that you're excited about trying to improve?
So I'm like you. I like softer actions.
Mhm.
I'm going to try quite a those. I'm starting to offer instead of a meeting, like if they'd like a use,
Mm.
who's going to say no to a use case?
Yeah.
Those are a couple of different things. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I've been doing this for so long. I think like I finally learned a lot of the tricks. I like personalization to the extent that it can be helpful.
Mm.
So people always like hearing nice things about them. But I do think sometimes we go personalization in the wrong way. And I've seen a lot of those miss where they'll say, well, Joey, I noticed you're at KMS and this must be something on your mind. And they're totally off. So I think trying to maybe do the right personalization is a
Mm.
better approach.
Yeah, yeah. Less is more sometimes with personalization, right? Because you don't want to presume something and then come across looking like somebody who has no clue about, their life and their industry and their problems. So yeah, uh, yeah. I think I am particularly excited about AI, but I think it has to be done in the right way. It needs a lot of babysitting. It's actually a great tool, but like everything else, it's a tool, right? Just like
Yeah.
SalesRobot, it's another tool. So you have to be extra careful and use it in the right ways and review every message before it goes out. Um, so yeah, I think it's there's a lot there, but sometimes simpler stuff like just experimenting with 5 different CTAs and having like those 5 different A/B tests running. Sometimes like one of those that Claude came up with recently would can we put our heads together about this, right? So more like a collaborative call to action, right?
Oh,
As opposed to
interesting. I like that.
yeah. I'll send you the whole list. Like I was surprised. Like that's one of those things about AI comes up with great lines that it's really like a um, sparring partner when you're trying to think of good copy. Awesome. So that is all the time we have, Joey. Thank you so much for doing this. This has been very fun for me. and
Likewise.
we wish you the best of luck in your coming campaigns.
Thank you so much. Good to catch up, and best of luck to you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Joey. You take care now. Bye bye.